It is terrific Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. We're still moving on with our little lockdown. I miss you guys terribly. Wish I was in the math class with you, but we're going to go ahead and move on virtually. So today we're going to talk about sides and angles. And sides and angles of two-dimensional shapes are super important because we're going to be moving on to three-dimensional shapes. We have to make sure that we have a very strong understanding of 2D shapes so that way we can move on to 3D shapes. So today, the front page asks us to take a look at shapes and group them by sides and angles. Okay, and they want to specifically look for triangles, squares, parallelogram, trapezoids, hexagons, and those pattern blocks. So to kind of help you remember those shapes, I'm going to pull up my virtual manipulatives. And right now, I'm just starting off with my triangle because it has three sides. And if I look at my other shapes over here, I don't see anything else with just three sides. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which we've learned is called a hexagon. That's right, with the X is hexagon. I've got a parallelogram with 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, square with 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, a trapezoid with 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and another just kind of a different type of parallelogram, but still with 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. All right, so we're just going to take a close look at this triangle for right now. And on this triangle, we're going to count the sides. So if I count the sides, I've got 1, 2, 3 sides. And then if I were to count the angles, I've got 1, 2, 3 angles. So go back to my math page. I can draw my triangle. As best I can. I know that it has 3 sides like we just talked about, and I also know it has 3 angles. All right, I'm going to go back to my math manipulatives, and I know it's a little different because we are not really in the classroom, so it's kind of tough to see them, but we're doing the best we can with what we've got. If I can get it going here. All right, so we finished up with the triangle, and now we're going to take a look more at our shapes with 4 sides. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pull my square over. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pull this shape over. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to take a look. All right, so as I'm looking, I see 1 side, 2 side, 3 side, 4 sides, and then I can count my angles again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I can count my sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can count my angles, 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count my sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can count my angles, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can mark them on your piece of paper. You can, if you're marking your angles, you can just mark your angles so you can see them. Those are little angles in the corner, and you can see if they're greater than 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees. Some of them might be 90 degrees, depending on what the shape is. And we're going to start talking about degrees and angles too later on, not today. Today we're just learning how to count the sides and count the angles. So these shapes that have 4 sides all have 4 angles. Okay. And then last shape I'm going to pull up. This is the shape that if I were to count has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. I know it's a little sloppy. 6 sides, which is a hexagon, because it has that 6, so we know that's a hexagon. And I'll pull up a clean copy of my hexagon. Right now, my hexagon, we just count all the sides are 6, and I'm going to go ahead and count my corners. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's also 6 corners in my hexagon. All right, so I'm going to take a look back on my page. And then if you were to draw them out, you can draw them out. That would be fine for the other shapes. So I would draw out my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know it's kind of messy, guys. I'm doing the best I can. You guys do the best you can. We've got 6 sides and 6 angles. And then I would draw some of my 4-sided shapes. So trapezoid, rectangle. I want to do a square, but I know that that's about as good as a square I'm going to get. But we know that they have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. Okay, so you did really great on that one. I know the transfer is going to get the ink, so let's erase that ink off. Okay, so brand new, clean page. This is the see and show, so we're going to work through this together, and then you'll have the 2 pages by yourself. So on the see and show, it says you can describe 2-dimensional shapes by the number of the sides and the angles. So it says triangle, and you see the sides and the angles. So how many sides are there in a triangle? There's 1, 2, 3 sides. And there's how many angles? 1, 2, 3 angles. So I can put on here 3 and 3. On a quadrilateral, which means you've got your 4, quad being 4. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 sides, and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. On a pentagon, this one is a tricky one. The pentagon and the hexagon, kids like to get them confused, but if you can always remember that hexagon has an X and 6 has an X, you're always going to know it's 6-sided. Pentagon is like the house, okay? Pentagon has those 5 sides. Let's count them to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, which means you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles. A hexagon, we know because we just did it, it has 6 sides. We also know that it has our 6 angles. How about a circle? How many flat sides are there? 0. You're right. There's 0 flat sides, and there are 0 angles. There are no angles on a circle. It says trace each shape and write how many sides and angles. Well, again, you would just trace as best you can. Mine's going to be kind of messy because it is on computer. And we know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sides and 4 angles. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides, 6 angles. Circle the objects that have 0 sides and 0 angles. If I look at it, looks like a refrigerator, I think. I don't know what that object is. I can't see, but I can tell that there are definitely sides and definitely angles. There's 4 sides and 4 angles, so that's not going to work. Circle the objects that have 0 sides and 0 angles. A button has 0 sides and 0 angle, and a CD has 0 sides and 0 angles. In the talk math, how are some square and hexagons alike? How are they different? How are a square and a hexagon alike, and how are they different? Squares and hexagons definitely have similarities, but they also have differences. So talk to somebody at home and tell them what makes a square and a hexagon the same. What are some things they have in common that are the same? Like, we know they're both 2D shapes, so that makes them kind of the same. But they definitely have some differences too. Remember that letter X has a lot to do with a hexagon, making it quite unique. All right, so you are all done with your lesson. You're going to go ahead and move on and get your practice sheet done and move on to your videos and get a little bit of work done. You're doing fantastic. Keep up the great work, and I will see you on Wednesday.